So Desmond is the one who no longer wanted to be with Kristy and not the other way around. Y'all, I knew the information was going to start coming out, but I did not think it was going to get this muddy this fast.
A golden retriever is still a dog. Listen, I'm going to say the uncomfortable part that a lot of you, and probably even Kristy, doesn't want to hear. But I'm going to say it anyway, because you need to hear it. Kristy can easily divorce Desmond tomorrow, and she's going to be fine. She's going to get snatched up by another man real quick.
Due to social media harassment, Desmond has come out to explain why him and his wife are getting divorced and if he cheated. And that has some on social media even more mad.
Y'all, I need everyone to sit down for this one because the way this story flipped is actually insane. When the news first dropped that Kristy had officially filed for divorce, the internet wasted absolutely no time deciding who the villain was. And let's be honest, it was Desmond. No debate, no nuance, just straight to jail in the court of public opinion. People were dragging him left, right, and center, calling him insecure, bitter, jealous, saying he couldn't handle Kristy being more successful, more visible, more loved. The narrative felt clean, too clean. Kristy was the star. Desmond was the bitter husband, marriage over, case closed. Except that wasn't the full story, because almost immediately after the backlash hit, Desmond came forward with a statement that changed everything. In that statement, he didn't deny wrongdoing, but he did something very intentional. He made it crystal clear that he was the one who wanted the separation first. And that one sentence, that's when the internet stopped and said, wait, what? Because filing for divorce and wanting a divorce are not always the same thing. According to Desmond, toward the end of 2025, he told Kristy he wanted to separate, not take a break, not work on things. Separate. That's a heavy word. That's not a threat. That's a decision. So naturally, people started asking the uncomfortable questions. Why would he want out? Why would she fight to keep the marriage? And why did this all come out after he was already getting destroyed online? Some people believe Desmond spoke up because the narrative was spiraling out of control. Others believe he wanted to reclaim some dignity. And some think he wanted to be very clear that this wasn't a case of him being left behind. But intent aside, this revelation shattered the clean storyline everyone had accepted. Because suddenly, Kristy wasn't just the woman who filed for divorce. She was the woman who allegedly begged her husband to stay. And that detail alone changed how people viewed everything. Now let's talk about power dynamics. Kristy and Desmond built their platform together, but over time, the balance shifted. Hard. Kristy's numbers skyrocketed. Her brand deals multiplied. Her visibility exploded. She became the main attraction. Meanwhile, Desmond became background noise. And while some couples can survive that shift, others absolutely cannot. Because fame doesn't just bring money, it brings attention, access, temptation, and ego. People started speculating that Desmond felt invisible in his own marriage, that he went from being a partner to being a prop, that his discomfort was often played for laughs, content, engagement. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Resentment doesn't always come from hate. Sometimes it comes from feeling small. Old videos resurfaced, clips where Desmond looked annoyed, moments where he seemed checked out, times where Kristy leaned into jokes that clearly irritated him, and suddenly, what once looked playful started looking different. The internet began asking, was this marriage already cracking long before the divorce papers? Was Desmond emotionally gone before he ever physically left? And did Kristy ignore the warning signs because the brand was working? Because once your relationship becomes content, leaving isn't just emotional, it's financial, reputational, and strategic. And that's where things get complicated. Now let's talk about the part that turned this divorce from sad to scandal, the cheating allegations. Kristy's divorce filing reportedly cited infidelity with no chance of reconciliation. That phrase alone is devastating. It doesn't say mistake, it doesn't say we tried, it says done. Initially, people assumed the cheating was straightforward. Desmond cheated, Kristy left, end of discussion. But social media never stops at the surface. Almost immediately, whispers began spreading that Kristy herself may not have been completely innocent. allegedly. And let me emphasize, allegedly. Rumors started circulating that as Kristy's fame increased, so did the caliber of men in her orbit. Athletes, rappers, industry executives, men with more money, more status, more influence than Desmond. And according to speculation, Desmond found out. That's when the narrative took a sharp turn. The theory goes that Desmond didn't wake up one day and decide to cheat. He woke up realizing his marriage was already slipping through his fingers, that he was watching his wife get attention he couldn't compete with, that he felt replaced before he was ever officially left. And allegedly, that's when he asked for a separation. But here's where the story gets messier. Some reports claim Kristy didn't want the separation, that she pushed for reconciliation, that she wanted to protect the family, the image, the empire they built together, and if that's true, then the next part is even darker. Because allegedly, Desmond then cheated anyway, and not just cheated, but cheated in a way that made reconciliation impossible. The rumor that sent the internet into chaos was that the affair involved a man. Now again, there is no confirmation. But the reason this rumor gained traction is because many believe this is what ended all chances of saving the marriage. For some people, that kind of betrayal isn't just infidelity. It's a complete collapse of trust and identity. Once that rumor surfaced, everything escalated. People began dissecting Desmond's mannerisms. His tone, his expressions, old comments resurfaced. Accusations that had floated around quietly for years suddenly went mainstream. Some even claimed the marriage was performative, a business arrangement. Others rejected that entirely, pointing out they'd been together since their teens. And then came the revenge theory. Some believe Desmond cheated deliberately to force a final break, that he knew Kristy wouldn't forgive that, so he made sure the door was slammed shut. Others argue that cheating is cheating, no matter the motivation. Meanwhile, Kristy started receiving backlash too. People accused her of ignoring Desmond's discomfort for content, of centering herself, of benefiting from the dynamic while he quietly burned out. And suddenly, the internet didn't know who to root for anymore. Because this wasn't just about cheating, it was about power, ego, resentment, and what happens when relationships become brands. Now that the shock has worn off and the dust is starting to settle, we need to talk about what this divorce actually means. Because beyond the cheating rumors, the internet think pieces, and the viral clips, there's a much deeper story unfolding here. This isn't just the end of a marriage. This is the collapse of a brand, the fracture of an image, and a very public reminder of what happens when real life collides with online performance. Let's start with the most uncomfortable truth of all. Kristy will be fine. And I don't say that casually. I say that because in the world of social media, independence equals survival, and Kristy has that in abundance. She has her own following, her own income streams, her own leverage. The audience was already emotionally invested in her, not the relationship. The endorsement deals, they're not disappearing. The engagement, still there. The sympathy, mostly on her side. And whether people want to admit it or not, society is far more forgiving to women who leave marriages than to men who are perceived as disposable. Desmond, on the other hand, is entering the most dangerous phase of influencer life. Post-relationship relevance. Because when your brand is built partially on your marriage, divorce doesn't just break your heart, it fractures your identity. People start asking questions like, who are you without her? Why should we keep watching you? Was she the reason we cared in the first place? And those questions are brutal, especially when public opinion has already decided that you were the problem. But here's where things get complicated. Because the internet loves a clean villain, and this story refuses to be clean. Desmond admitted fault. He admitted he made choices he wasn't proud of. But he also said something that many people glossed over. He asked for separation first. That detail matters, because it introduces the possibility that this marriage didn't end with betrayal. It ended with emotional exhaustion. And that forces a harder conversation about what happens when someone feels unheard for years. A lot of viewers are now revisiting old content with fresh eyes, Clips that once felt playful now feel tense. Moments that once seemed funny now feel uncomfortable. And suddenly people are asking, was Desmond slowly checking out while smiling for the camera? Was Kristy ignoring signs because the content was working? Was the internet cheering for dynamics that weren't actually healthy? Because let's be honest, social media rewards imbalance. It rewards one partner being dominant, one partner being annoyed, one partner being the joke, and the audience eats it up. But that dynamic comes at a cost. And when resentment builds quietly behind the scenes, it doesn't explode gently. It explodes destructively. Now let's talk about the cheating again, but from a different angle. If the rumors are true, and I want to emphasize if, then this wasn't just cheating for pleasure. This was cheating as a message. Some people believe Desmond cheated because he felt emasculated. Others think he cheated because he wanted to feel wanted again. And some believe he cheated because he wanted the marriage to end decisively. Because sometimes people don't cheat to start something new. They cheat to burn something down. And if the rumors about the affair involving a man are true, then that adds an entirely different layer of emotional complexity. Not just betrayal, but identity, secrecy, and fear. Again, nothing confirmed. But the speculation alone tells you how deeply fractured public trust has become. Meanwhile, Kristy's silence has been loud. She hasn't gone on rants. She hasn't subtweeted. She hasn't given interviews spilling details. And honestly, that restraint might be the smartest move of this entire situation, because the internet always turns on whoever talks too much. Right now, Kristy doesn't need to explain herself. She doesn't need to defend herself. Public sentiment is already leaning in her favor. Desmond, however, is trapped in explanation mode. And explanation mode is dangerous, because every word you say invites interpretation, suspicion, and backlash. Now let's talk about the kids. Because no matter how messy this gets online, there are 2 children who didn't sign up for any of this. And while the internet debates who cheated first, who wanted out first, and who benefited more, these kids are adjusting to a completely different reality. Desmond has publicly committed to being an active, present father. And that's important, because long after the gossip fades, that role will matter more than anything else. And here's something else we need to acknowledge. The internet does not want resolution. It wants escalation. It wants screenshots. It wants leaked DMs. It wants confirmation of every rumor. But real healing doesn't happen in comment sections. This story is still unfolding, and there are details we don't have yet. Court filings, custody arrangements, financial negotiations, emotional fallout that hasn't surfaced publicly. And as more information comes out, the narrative will shift again, because the internet always changes its mind. Today's villain becomes tomorrow's victim. Today's victim becomes tomorrow's problem. And what makes this divorce so compelling and so uncomfortable is that it forces us to question our role as spectators. Did we encourage dynamics that weren't sustainable? Did we reward content that came at someone's emotional expense? Did we confuse entertainment with intimacy? Because once a relationship becomes a product, breaking up becomes a performance. And this performance isn't over. There will be new clues, new whispers, new sources close to the situation. And people will continue to choose sides based on fragments. But here's the truth beneath all the noise. This wasn't just a marriage ending. This was 2 people growing in different directions under a microscope. And sometimes love doesn't fail loudly. It erodes quietly until one moment breaks everything. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Desmond felt replaced long before he cheated? Do you think Kristy prioritized the brand over the marriage? Or do you think the internet created a story that doesn't fully exist? Because one thing is clear. This divorce didn't just end a relationship, it exposed everything underneath it. And if you're here for the real conversations, the uncomfortable truths, and the mess the internet won't stop talking about, you already know where you are. This is I Love Gossip. And baby, this story is nowhere near finished.